At Direct Service Overhead, we know how much trust you put in the individuals who have the privilege of working on the components of your home. We understand that a broken garage door is the last thing you want to be worried about, and most of the time, doors break at the most inconvenient times. Our professionally trained technicians service 24 hours a day, and our high-cycle parts are guaranteed to make a noticeable impact on your garage door without putting a damper on your wallet. If you're looking for need of assistance maintaining your current garage door, our team has the experience and expertise to deliver the results you deserve. Give Direct Service Overhead a call today or visit us online to learn more.
Oh, welcome, everyone. We're going to break this game down. A lot to talk about. I hope you guys are ready. 3, 2, 1. Yo, my hair's a little messy. I just switched shirts and I didn't bother to correct the look. So you know, you just get what you get and you don't throw a fit, as we tell our kids. I know the things that people argue about or comment on sometimes have, well, I mean, you know. You can't ever just make everybody happy. I hope you guys had a great week. I know the Monday and Wednesday shows, man, you guys, look at you. I mean, going out of your way, creating YouTube accounts just to show your support to the show. That's incredible. I've had a couple of people tell me that. That's awesome. You know, Patreon supporters, that list is going to be updated soon. We've added some. I don't think we've lost anybody. I think we've added a couple of people this month. How about that? Shout out to the Patreon supporters, commenters, people who watch the show live, and people who come in after the fact. By the way, so we've had people like, look, I love the direction of where you guys are going with this. Some of you in the comment section, like, you know, it's been good stuff. The comment section has been great. What I am going to ask you guys to do, of course, subscribe. If you haven't already, check out all the links provided for you down below in the description box, including that Patreon link. If you guys want to join that, there's also our Discord link. And what else? Gosh, there's all sorts of stuff. Of course, the sponsors of the show. And we're going to go over them in just a second. But, yeah, all sorts of stuff down below in that description box. But subscribe if you guys haven't already. But, you know, a lot of you, it's interesting. Quite a few of you who are here typically on the day-to-day, on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday shows, like, I think it's something like 60% are subscribers. That's so cool. That's really cool. So I'm proud of what we're doing here. This semi-daily show, as I've kind of dubbed it, has been it's done really well, and I couldn't be here, couldn't be doing this without you guys. So yeah. Okay. I mean, guys, I didn't fill out, so I have my notepad on the computer that I use to I mean, you should see this sucker. This thing is, you could scroll down for a while. Then I jotted down some notes here, not very many. But I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning, getting everything done for the notes, and of course, doing the thumbnails. I did today's thumbnail, which is the thing that you see when you click on the show. That's the image, right? That's what you call thumbnail. I also did tomorrow's thumbnail. So I'm out in front doing it big time, baby. I'm all about it. All right. Let's give, of course, the sponsors a shout out, as always, as we do before every show. Of course, Direct Service Overhead, who was the very first sponsor of the show, Travis Ford and his crew. Shout out to him, of course. They will repair and or replace your garage door. They are located, or they do business in Northwest Arkansas, most of Northwest Arkansas, and quite a bit of Central Arkansas. So, yeah, if you're curious about their services, there's a link. There's a link provided for you, as I mentioned earlier, down below in the description box. Let me know your score predictions. I want them. Go ahead and just start shooting them over. Well, I tell you what. For those of you who not live, those of you who are here live, hang on with your live. I already said that, and someone's already typed it out. But for those of you who are watching after the fact, after the live show, you weren't able to make it. Go ahead and throw out your score prediction, and I want your MVP of the game. That's who I want. I want to know, who do you think is someone? It could be someone we all expect, like KJ Jefferson, Dominic Johnson, Traylon Smith, Rocket Sanders, Traylon Burks. It could be, or maybe you want to go. You know what? I'm gonna give a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman some credit. I want to know, and it's hard to. I get it. It's hard to give an offensive lineman MVP. But hey, look, man, as someone who played offensive line back in the day, we appreciate the love, because we get all the hate when things go wrong, and we get very rarely do we get much of the love. Although these days of analytics, speaking on that, the Arkansas offensive line got some love. We're going to talk about that in just a second too. But anyways, shout out to Direct Service Overhead again. They're what they do for you, what their services, what they offer for you is provided on their website, which is in the description box. Stated Apparel, who sell the softest shirts. I can't wait. I got mine in the mail. I think they're being shipped this week. If you check out their inventory, if you use the code TYROCKS, I think it's all caps, TYROCKS, you'll get 10% off. They carry known brands like Native and Southern Marsh clothing brands, and of course they've got their own, a lot of Arkansas related shirts, not Razorbacks, but Arkansas, like state love, because we got to love our state, man. I don't know how you could be from here and not love your state. I know people, look, I know plenty of people, a lot of California transplants have moved here. They're going to Texas, but I get why they're leaving California. I'm not gonna go there. But yeah, over the years, and that's nothing new, like Californians have been coming here for decades, and they hate their state. Think of that. Think of all the things they're known for, right? Hollywood and Los Angeles and San Francisco and all these really cool, and that part of and that's like a whole other world out there. They come here and they're like, I wish I was born here so I could be proud of where I was born, but I'm not proud of where I'm from in California. A lot of people leaving, especially now. So that's what's really cool. And their logo, if you notice their logo, it's got the state flag in it, talking about Stated Apparel. So they're definitely a homegrown company, and it's really cool to see them doing what they're doing. You can check out all their inventory down below in my description box, and their link. Our Discord is available too there if you want to. There's a page for our current sponsors. It's the PTN sponsors page if you want to click on that. We've only got 2 right now, but I'm not even going to lie, I haven't been shopping around for any. I have everyone that's been a part of the show, anyone that's sponsored, I mean, these guys are hitting me up. They want to be a part of what's going on at the PTN, and I want to be a part with them because I like what they do. I like doing business with these guys. So far, everything's been awesome. So, All right. Yeah, we A&M. Here we go. Right out the gate. Pro Football Focus. They graded Arkansas as the number 1 run blocking offensive line in the SEC at a grade of 87.6, and that's pretty high. I think they said the second closest was still like, I think 8 or 10 points behind. It's pretty significant. They run like it's downhill running. I've said it. You know, after the Texas game, we figured it out. Oh, that's what they are. I mean, we always heard that this offense it's built to run, but I guess we I don't know, underestimated the physicality of the run game. How it's like we're going to run east-west if we have to, but right now we like running north-south because we can. That's what this offense is. It's power run. We knew, again, the veer and shoot, that's what it is. It's built to set everything up so you could run down teams' throats. You wear them down, that high tempo, the RPO, you keep them guessing, a little bit of the play action. You kind of throw it all in there. It's you know, typically the tight end's got to be big, physical, be able to kick out blocks. You know, running backs have got to be able to block. That's one of the reasons why we're not seeing – someone had asked why we're not seeing more of A.J. Green. I think he needs a little bit of work in that department. Receivers block downfield. Did you hear Sam Pittman? So I didn't know this. We have to make a correction. Warren Thompson was actually given his scholarship before – I think Sam Pittman said – I think around the time of fall camp. And he told Warren Thompson, the Florida State, that big 6'3", 6'4", I don't know. He's similar in size to Treylon Burks. Not in skill set, but he's pretty talented. You saw that 60-yard bomb. I mean, he could shake loose now. But what he told him was, I'll give you a scholarship when you block somebody. Now, I don't know why that news – I read that on it wasn't 2040. Who was that? I had the source in front of me when I read it, and I didn't cite it, and I should have, and I closed it out without reading it because I just assumed because I had seen it posted somewhere else. But apparently Warren Thompson got his scholarship a little while back, but I thought that was cool. So everyone's got a block, including receivers. And tight ends, I mean, that's been their role for decades, right? I mean, that is their role, similar to what – like fullbacks are always the lead blocker, right? Sometimes if you had someone like a Peyton Hillis, you could throw the ball out to him out in the flats, or they could run little short dig routes or whatever. But in this offense, they are built. Tight ends are built to block and also be solid check down targets. I'd love to see Blake Kern. I don't know what's going on with Hudson Henry. I'm surprised you guys don't ask more about him. I think that's because it's kind of settled science now, right? Like, not that that's a thing, but it's kind of just settled. Like he's just injury prone, and then also Blake Kern's just built better for this offense. I think that's truly what a lot of this is. He's just built for this offense better than Henry is. Henry's not the blocker that Kern is. He's not the size, and he doesn't play with the same physicality that Kern does. Makes you wonder what they do with Hudson Henry. Do they have him tack on some more weight and work on him being more physical? I mean, he is in the two deep. We know he's talented in the passing game. He doesn't drop balls like Blake Kern. I think Kern on the year only – does he even have a drop? Not that he's been targeted a lot, but so I truly think it's kind of a mixed bag. I think it's injuries with Hudson, and I think it's just Blake Kern fits this offense better. So that's what matters. This is a physical power run offense. Everybody has to block downfield. Everyone's got to get downfield. Speaking of that, I absolutely hate that Keytron, as someone corrected me in chat. It's Keytron. My bad. He got his touchdown called back because of an illegal man downfield. I think it was Ricky Stromberg. It was either Stromberg or Clary. Someone was blocking downfield, and it was inside the 5, and he just was smothering his guy and driving him back. I thought that was the dumbest call. I didn't know you could get that call. I think they're on like the 3 or 4 yard line. I didn't know you could call that there. I don't think I've ever seen that called inside the 5. That's ridiculous. I get it. When you're pass blocking, when it's a designed pass, you're not supposed to go a certain amount of yardage, and they'll throw that flag, and they threw that, and they took his touchdown off the board. But if you remember back against Rice, we had a touchdown called back, KJ's long run, was that Rice? That was Rice, right? Yeah. It was called back because what was happening? Jackson was downfield smothering that defensive back blocking. So this is a power run offense, and we figured that out after in the middle of the Texas game. Like, oh, that's what they want to do. We just figured they did that against Rice because Rice was in. Let's be honest. On paper, they're inferior. They don't have the size. They can't match our speed and physicality and our size. I just thought that. But then you go halfway into the Texas game, and it's like, oh man, that's what this offense does. So it's pretty cool, though, to see them graded out that high. Again, 87.6, according to Pro Football Focus, the number 1 run-blocking team in the SEC. How exciting is that? That's pretty cool. I can't remember. Now, Pro Football Focus hasn't been around forever, but I want to say the better part of a decade. It feels like it's been the better part of a decade, and I don't know that Arkansas has ever been rated that high on their conference list as far as just a run-blocking unit, which is, again, really cool. Scrolling up here. Again, Super Chat is active. If you guys really want me to read what you say, you could do that. But other than that, I'm going to have to pick and choose kind of what I read here. Info on Ricky Stromberg and Dalton Wagner, says Will Lennox. I don't know. If you believe what Twitter says, and I'm always skeptical, and by the way, those guys typically get their information either off the radio or at least I think that's where they're getting their information. And some of you guys know who I'm talking about. There's some people that just have, like when we were told that game day was for sure, or was that game day was inquiring about coming down to Fayetteville. I don't know that. I'm not calling anybody a liar. I just, why was it that a little well more known outside of like one person posting that on Twitter, and then he ended up being wrong. It didn't even come to, and that same person then said, and he could be right because he has been right about other stuff. He has. I'm not going to deny that. But he then says the offensive line is fine. Well, and I'll be honest, I haven't really. I've asked around a little bit. I'm not getting a lot of answers. Sam Pittman is not one to be upfront about injuries. He'll say one thing and then something else happens. I don't really know what to believe about, and that was actually my next part of my part of the show here. We're going to do an injury update. I literally wrote, I have no damn clue who's healthy or not with Arkansas. People on Twitter are saying that they're good to go. Sullivan, I think that's who actually broke the story first yesterday morning. Sullivan was rumored. Now, I didn't hear this, but this is what one individual told me, and then I read it somewhere else on one of the free boards, that Sullivan down in Little Rock said that he had mentioned that Dalton Wagner and Stromberg, it looked like they were possibly good to go. Again, none of this is verified. Take that all with a grain of salt. For people who are acting like that's not a big deal, that you don't have Stromberg, that you may not have Stromberg or Dalton Wagner, I get it. Sam Pittman's a head coach. You love what this offensive line has done. But Wagner and Stromberg, especially Ricky Stromberg, are a big reason why that offensive line has absolutely dominated folks up front. Now, the good news is, you're going to have Ty Clary, who's a jack of all trades. By the way, Luke Jones is a jack of all trades. He could play right tackle all the way over to left guard. He is someone, I don't know much about him playing left tackle, but I think he played a little bit of left tackle, but he also moved around in high school down in Little Rock before he went to Notre Dame and then ultimately transferred here. But Luke Jones is someone, he's a utility guy. So you feel good about, okay, all right, it's not Ricky Stromberg or Dalton Wagner. And by the way, Dalton Wagner, I don't know if I would say he's an all-conference guy or not, but he's played pretty well. He's played really well. But that wouldn't be as big of a loss for me as Stromberg. You do have Tykees Crawford. I don't know what's going on with Tykees Crawford. I don't know why he's not mentioned more as someone to take over on that right tackle spot. He made the 2-deep, week 2 of fall camp. He came in, and Sam Pittman talked about that. He came in at the 3 spot at right tackle, and within a week he was already. The belief was we might even have a battle at right tackle for Crawford and Wagner. And then Wagner just kind of took things over, and his experience helps. Tykees Crawford, it's his first year in Power 5 football. It's his first year in the SEC. So, so Wagner's been good ever since. You see why they made that move. But why Tykees Crawford's not over there? And I think Crawford's got a really high ceiling. Now, keep in mind, when I say someone has a really high ceiling, that doesn't mean Ty's saying they're all Americans. No. They got to reach it. They got to get there first. They're guys that just seem like they have a lot of room to grow, to get bigger, stronger, more physical. And based on what you've read on their, recruiting analytics, what people who break down all these players, what they say, you watch enough content on these guys, you watch video, and it's like, all right, I see it. I get it. And then you read what all these professionals, these people that have done this for decades, what they have to say about these kids, and they're like, Crawford is good. Crawford's going to be he's got it written all over him that he could be a next level tackle. I hope that's what happens. And they may move him around a little bit. You've seen they're doing that with these offensive linemen. There's so many questions about the offensive line. And I'm not telling anybody to panic either if both those guys, because like I said, you've got quality depth there. But I do think it might be a little bit of a drop-off, maybe not much of one. We're going to get into A&M's defensive line here in just a second. I think there's some misconceptions about what's going on with their run defense. I think a lot of people look at what happened early in the year and believe that that's who they are, and I'm going to tell you guys that may not be the case. Pro Football Focus. So if you looked at these numbers side by side, these aren't. Hold on, that's not Pro Football Focus. These are just stats compared side by side. A&M, 77th scoring offense in the country. They average right at around 28 points a game. Arkansas is 21st, and I'm going to argue, given that they've played Texas, whatever they are, whatever Texas is, I think Texas. It seems like a lot of people think they're still a top 25 caliber team. I mean, you look at what they did to Rice. They killed Rice. We witnessed a murder. Well, people who watched that game witnessed a murder, and they took out all their frustrations on Rice. So I think, given that I think definitely Arkansas has played a much tougher schedule leading into this, and Arkansas is at 41 points, they're top 25 scoring offense in the country. I would argue they're probably, you look at who in front of them, who are the other 20 teams, and who have they played, and where do they belong in terms of, if you want to give power rankings on offense, where do they really belong compared to what Arkansas has accomplished this year? I would say it looks to me like Arkansas's got one of the top offenses in the SEC, which I think is actually the case. Ole Miss with the leading offense. Arkansas, I think, somewhere floating around the top three. Passing yards per game, I don't know if that's got to be a miss. It says, no, that's wrong. That's a misprint. It says 445. That's total yards. Oh, my bad. Total yards. Okay. Total yards are 445. I was like, they're not throwing 445 yards. So they're almost 50 yards less a game. Again, they did play Colorado. Say what you want about them. Colorado is not a good football team. Their defense is salty. But their total yards right now rank, according to that is coming from Pro Football Focus, it's 33rd at 445 a game. They got quite a bit of that against some really bad opponents. Arkansas, again, at almost right under about 493, 22nd in the country. Passing yards per game, they are averaging 260. Arkansas at 210. Arkansas's 85th pass attack. A&M's 45th. Rushing, they are 44th in the country. Compare that, which is about just under about 186 yards a game on the ground. Arkansas, 282 yards per game on the ground. That's ridiculous. Again, if you're going to take Texas serious, which I think the Big 12 is going to, I think Texas is slowly getting things put together, but that's the game we have to look at and go, okay, well, there you go. Proof is in the pudding. Arkansas did it against another P5 school. They racked up so many, and look what they continue to do it every week. It's like if they don't get 220 yards on the ground, we might have some questions about what's going on with this offense. But that's good for 8th in the country. Third down conversions, they are pretty good. They are pretty good on third down. They are they're right around 49% on third down. That is good for top 25 in the country. And that's after playing Colorado, again, not known for offense. They are a defensive football team. So, and then Arkansas, not good on third down. This is something I'm going to go back to on third down play design, or third down play calling, not design. Third down play calling, I've said it since after week 1. I said it in week 2. And I said it in week 3. First and third down play calling have been not phenomenal. It almost seems predictable on third down. And look where they're hovering around at. They're right around 72nd in the country on third down conversions, 39.5%. Guys, that's not good. Like, obviously, I'm stating the obvious here. That has to get better. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that, right? No one's going to argue that. I'm not going to have someone later, well, Ty, no, that's bad. That's not good. You're not into SEC play, and you're sub 45% on third down. Like, that's got to come up. And that starts with not making mistakes on first down. It starts with, I think, a little bit better, I don't know, doing something on first down. Doing something different on first down. I get it. Kendall's been pretty good this year. I thought he called that Texas game was great. For the most part, I would say 80% of his play calling in that game, maybe more, was phenomenal. But then again, it's easy to call a game when you're just flat out running those guys over. But give it up to Kendall for recognizing that, spotting it going into the game, and saying, you know what, we're going to stick to our identity in this game, which is a power run offense. And he did it. Called a solid game. I thought he called most of, other than the second quarter against Georgia Southern. Same thing. Second half against Rice. Same thing. But third down, I don't know, man. Just do something that's not predictable. It's like teams just know what's about to happen. It's going to be and I get it, some of it's RPO call. It's not necessarily on Kendall. Sometimes it's KJ not handing the ball off or not taking off and running with it. But it just seems to me like, I don't know, maybe him and KJ need to sit down and be like, all right, we got to rework third down. Like, we're going to go to the film room, we're going to study what we've done wrong, and maybe be a little less predictable. Maybe not run the RPO on third down. I don't know. Maybe just 5 wide that bad boy. We know they've got the receivers. So sacks allowed per game. Arkansas is doing well pass blocking. A&M not so much. They're pass blocking. They're giving up around 2 sacks a game. So, yeah, defensively, this is just where things get ridiculous. And I am gonna chalk this up mostly to just who they've played. I mean, we can look at these numbers; they're inflated, big time. They're averaging giving up sub 6 points a game, giving up 2 field goals a game. That's their average, which is good for first in the country. Arkansas, 16th, 16 points per game, 27th in the country. Total yards, Arkansas's 18th in the country at 265. A&M's at 9th at 239 yards a game. Their pass defense, 77 yards a game. Arkansas, 142. Okay, rush defense is 86th. Arkansas, obviously, we talked about the 8th best rush attack. That's the matchup everyone wants to see. Their third down percentage, they're right at about 53rd in the country, so kind of a little bit north of the middle. Arkansas, 17th in the country on third downs. And, Arkansas still not getting to the quarterback like I would want. They average they're right at about – they're 51st in the country. A&M is 20th. So a couple of things there. Number one, sacks have got to go up. 51st in the country. Look, I'm not going to entertain who in chat who has come through and argued with me on multiple videos about how big the turnaround's going to be. I said, yeah, there's going to be a turnaround. This individual thinks it's going to be more relevant. It's going to be way, way, way better. I don't want to put words in his mouth because I said that he said that there would be All-Americans. I wasn't saying he was saying that, but it kind of felt like he was leading me to believe that all of a sudden we have all-conference talent up and down the defensive line, and we don't. That's just the fact. We don't. Are they better? Yes, they are better. Now, I've never complained about them against the run until the second half of last season, and they ran into Corona, and we kind of understand why that happened. But this year, there's not really any excuses. You have pretty good quality depth there, all right? I don't know if it's higher quality depth yet. We're going to find out a lot. A&M, their offensive line, in terms of star power, it's up there with Georgia. It's up there with Bama. It's up there with Florida in terms of star power. And who was it? Who was it in the media? It wasn't Jeff Tarpley. It was another guy from the A&M media, the guy that does their rivals, had said that, of course, do I have his name jotted down here somewhere? I think I do, all the way down at the bottom. Well, I had it. Oh, my gosh, there's so much here. It just blends in. Well, anyway, one of their media people from Rivals had said that this is their most talented offensive line they've had in quite some time. They're just not playing well as a unit. So, but this is a chance for Ridgeway, assuming we don't get a late hit on the quarterback. They've got to clean that up. But Zach Williams, Trey Williams, Utsi, maybe Mathew Hestand. We know we're going to see him at some point. Nichols, like this is a chance for these guys, new and old, newcomers and guys that have been here. This is an opportunity for them. A&M has not played very well up front, pass blocking. So, all right, let me read chat here really quick. Scrolling down. Someone said something about Catalan. JCat MVP. There it is. We got an MVP. Mr. Bloodline says Jalen Catalan. RKO. Whose move is that? Who has the RKO? Out of nowhere, that like button. Hogs by 20. Kalen Hitchens, 87, says Arkansas 31, A&M 17. Tyler G. Hogs win 24-13. Don't want another heartbreak in this series. If you lose it, it's 10 straight. It's time to put that to bed. This game is all defense, says Ryan Higginbotham. Mr. Cobra 45. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. We will. Will there be more Hogs or A&M fans in Dallas this weekend? There will be more A&M fans. I think that's usually the case. Is Mark Curls really the head ref? I don't know. That's been rumored. I don't know. Well, we got a super chat. Got to scroll down. Mr. T-Dub, 747, the dadgum like button, y'all. Yeah, let's get the likes. Loving you. Hey, Tygo Hogs, I enjoy your show. You do a great job. I appreciate that, Red Rock. Thank you. 20-27 Hogs. Burks' MVP, says Roger Spence. I'm liking it. Do you think Henry will finish his career here? I don't know. That's a good question. I guess it just depends. You know, they don't have like the tight ends that are commit, like the 2023 guys. They're not going to be here for a minute. No, I don't think so. I mean, I do think so. I don't think he transfers. I think he sticks it out because next year, who is going to challenge him at tight end? What do they do there? We know they're going to leave some spots open in this recruiting class for transfers. Maybe they go after a transfer. I don't know. Hayden Henry over Bumper. Well, we know how that'll work, though. They'll rotate those guys out. SEC refs make questionable calls against Arkansas. Never heard of such. Ty? Grumble, grumble, grumble. Let's see. And sad seeing what's going on with Henry after that Ole Miss game last year. I thought he was it. I did too. I really did. Sup, Ty? Thanks. Can't read that. Stinks to be short up front. We are going to learn a lot about the quality of our depth on the offensive line. Yeah, for sure. Terrence P. Garrett says, "What's up, Ty? With Crawford, I think it's more about them just trying to get their best five up front and rotate positions. Doesn't look like they put up it doesn't look like they put the next guy up." Yeah, and that is very true because Luke Jones has kind of been that guy who battled it out for left guard, and then all of a sudden he found himself in the mix, different positions up front. Same thing with Ty Clary, and we know Clary played center, he's played guard, he's started, he's been the backup, he's been a utility guy. But with all the hype around Crawford, that's kind of my thing. Like I don't understand why they don't just go ahead and plug him up front. I think some of it too is just understanding the offense. From an offensive lineman's perspective, this has got to be a pretty complicated offense for sure. Super chat, Carson Moreto. What's up, Ty? Arkansas 35, Texas A&M 24. Arkansas putting up 35 points on A&M would be impressive. I'm not saying it's impossible, Carson, but it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. These guys, say what you want about them, and there's some things happening with their defensive front. Their linebackers are starting to play better compared to week one. It seems like they're getting things put together. I have a hard time seeing them score 30-plus, but anything could happen. You might be right, Carson. You very well might be right, my man. Will says 34-24. Will Lennox. Occasional gamer. What's going on, man? The defenses are too good. I think this will be a low-scoring game on the order of 13-10. Coin flip. Remember, didn't I have this as a coin flip lean towards A&M? I know I picked A&M, and I'm pretty sure it was my coin flip. Mr. T-Dub with the other super chat. Look at him go. We have the right to have hope. Sammy D. Pittman ain't let us down yet. Hogs by 103. I love it. Curls 28, Hogs 24. If Curls is there, it's a different ball game, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, SEC officiating shouldn't have this kind of impact where we're that concerned about what's going on with the officiating crew. And here we are. Trying to get through these. There's a lot of comments here. They only put up 10 against Colorado. Yeah, no, I know. And who was it? I think it was Jeff Tarpley over at Gig'em 247 who said that Arkansas's defense relied on takeaways. I don't know if anyone else read that. I need to pull that up because I skimmed the article and someone had mentioned it in a group chat that I'm in. And I think, no, it wasn't Discord. Maybe it was Twitter. Someone had talked about that. Like that. That to me, that sounds like someone who has not watched Arkansas football. They do not rely on takeaways on defense. That defense, I mean, they're big, they're physical, they're fast, they've got speed. Now are they as fast? Can they match the speed of some of these faster defenses? Probably not. I mean, they're not Georgia or Alabama on defense, but some Alabama fans that are questioning that defense, by the way. I believe Arkansas wins big like they did against the Longhorns. 44-16, says Leslie Byram. Wow. What happened to Trent Gordon? Ryan Case talking about the Penn State corner that transferred in. He is backup nickel last I saw. He's backing up Brooks. Now, he's the same thing they did with Ladarius Bishop. If you guys remember Bishop, they moved around. They moved him around from one corner, behind Monteric Brown. They moved him back. They moved, kind of back and forth. And they've done that with several cats, right? They've done that with they like moving these guys around and experimenting a little bit, trying to figure out where they fit the best. And then they settled on Bishop in one spot, and look at him. He beat out he beat out to win the starting job. And now he's your corner on the other side of the field, opposite of Monteric Brown. So, Ryan, Trent Gordon is the backup behind Brooks. I think that's still the case. I thought they had Simeon Blair in there too somewhere. Blair's another guy, pretty athletic, who's made his way onto the field. Do you think Anaya Smith will play for A&M? So he's in concussion protocol. Jimbo Fisher has been – it sounds like Jimbo thinks that there's a possibility that Anaya Smith could play. You have Jeff Tarpley. I'm telling you, Jeff Tarpley was I heard tidbits of his call or his conversation with Trey Biddy. That guy just seems to think that Anaya Smith won't be missed. I know they've had some other cats step up over there, but it's like A&M's offense hasn't exactly been special. And Anaya Smith is regarded as one of the more talented, Swiss Army knives of the SEC. I mean, this guy Anaya Smith is could be really special in this offense, and to just act like whatever. I don't know, man. I also had some friends of mine were sending me screenshots. Look, message boards are message boards, and A&M's, they just think that Arkansas is full of meth heads. Like how often? Like, no, man, that's Mizzou. You're getting us confused with Missouri. Get it right. I know the A&M education. It's not so great down there. Football's literally the only thing that's taught in the state of Texas. I understand that. It's your religion. I'm pretty sure it's just what they do down there. I get their education isn't super high. They're not real big on actually learning things that really matter in life, but a lot of meth comments. Although, well, I mean, it's not to say, look, the whole world is struggling with methamphetamines, okay? Jenna Mayes, lunchtime, rough day. Hoping this weekend goes better. Well, I hate to hear that, Jenna. I hope your day gets better. A&M is a cult. All right, let's get on to the next part, okay? So, Texas A&M, what are some of the problems that they may have to deal with? There's some of the things that they've dealt with on the year, and I've already noted it here. We've already talked about it. O-line play, giving up 6 sacks on the year, so they gave up 3 to New Mexico, by the way, who's pretty aggressive on defense. I mean, if I'm watching game film, I'm definitely watching what New Mexico did, and you're going to try and hope to duplicate what they did. But, yeah, they gave up 3 sacks to New Mexico. Again, they've given up 6 on the year, two per game. Not exactly great. Watching Calzada and kind of doing some reading on this guy, I think Jimbo's now had 2 weeks to work with him with the ones to make him the guy that you're going to pay the most attention to. I don't know if this is similar to what happened with Texas between their 2 quarterbacks. We know that coming out of fall camp, they waited till their last week to announce their starting quarterback. Of course, Calzada was the backup. What I've seen though, when he's got a clean pocket, he might have one of the better arms in the SEC. But he's also when there's a little bit of when that pocket starts to collapse or when the pressure starts to come on, he really struggles. And Arkansas has done a better job this year. I'm not gonna say they put up consistent pressure, but they have shown that they're capable of doing it. If they can get him uncomfortable in that pocket, you've got a real shot here. But in the third quarter against New Mexico, Calzada missed a wide-open Jalen Watermeyer, who's arguably one of the best tight ends in the country, on a pass that should have been a touchdown. He was under pressure, and instead of throwing it out of bounds, he then tried to I think this was on the next series, he tried to force a ball to Moose Muhammad, and New Mexico's Tavian Combs jumped the route for an interception. So let's see, Zach Calzada's passing breakdown when kept clean. So when it's a clean pocket, his completion percentage is through the roof. It's like 80. It's north of 85% with a clean pocket. Now that is usually the case with a lot of quarterbacks. It's not really the case with KJ. He's struggled with accuracy, but when he has a clean pocket, he's going to throw better, But in terms of when the pocket starts to collapse, but we've also seen KJ, and sometimes that seems to be his strength when KJ can roll out of the pocket and make something happen with his arm while scrambling from pressure, but he's also thrown a pick under pressure. So we still just want to see him play a complete game. But again, when the pocket's clean, he's around a passing grade of 90.1, and again, his completion percentage is just north or sitting around 85%. Under pressure, his completion percentage drops to sub 50. That's a huge drop-off. Now, the average, good Lord, I have no idea. It's hard to compare the quarterbacks, but I don't know what the average is with clean pockets versus dirty pockets. See what I did there? You got dirty pockets, young man. I guess I should say when you start to feel the pressure and you're forced out of the pocket, what your completion percentage looks like. Everyone's going to drop. So giving Calzada a clean pocket to work from will be key for A&M's success against Arkansas. I think they absolutely want to get him going, but we know their running backs are Spiller is one of the top backs in this conference. So this is where having an elite pass rusher would come in hand. So who steps up for him? What kind of blitz packages and different looks does Odom give this very meh Aggie offensive line? Is this an opportunity for those who've tried to tell me that this defensive line is now the world has changed? This is an opportunity here. And I thought they did good against Texas. I don't think they were elite. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they were the best defensive line in the country that week, but they certainly looked like they're capable of doing some really special things. Like I really think that defensive line, I think this is a game for them to stand out. Hopefully they can do that. Going on to Texas A&M's run defense, is it really that bad? Now, I'm not saying that Arkansas's not going to run these guys over. The run blocking is great. Now, you subtract Ty Clary and Ricky Stromberg, I think you're going to run into some problems. But A&M, again, they're 88th in the country against the run. while the Hogs have one of the best run defenses, feels like old times. Well, I'm sorry, their offensive line, my bad. We've got this unbelievable, again, you're the highest grade run blocking offensive line. That's what it felt like when you could put anybody in the backfield. And I'm talking about before Darren McFadden and after Darren McFadden. That's kind of like what things used to feel like, even during Brett Bielema's time. When you had Jay Will and Alex Collins, Raleigh Williams, you could put anyone back there. Petrino's first year, you had Michael Smith who rushed for 1,000 yards. Like, that's Arkansas. That's where things happen. When you can expect, and it's hard to believe Arkansas had 1,000 yards with both Alex Collins and Michael Smith their first years as starters, and they still didn't have a great year in terms of like the team success on the field. But when you're better in the trenches, that's getting back to what Arkansas used to be and what they were known for. I mean, they were RBU. ESPN tagged them as RBU during the Bielema years. And they attributed that to great offensive line play, but also because you had running backs like Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, Alex Collins, Jonathan Williams, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, Nile Davis, Dennis Johnson. So you feel like things are getting back to old. Here's a week where you could prove that what happened on the offensive line was not something, and what you've done to these other two non-conference teams, and then Texas, so all three of the non-conference teams, where it's like, nope, they only did that because those are non-conference weak opponents up front on the line of scrimmage. These aren't true, like this isn't a true SEC, trench warfare. That's not what that was. This week you get an opportunity to prove people wrong. And here's why I think, number one, I think we're kind of getting things wrong about their defensive line. They're starting to get healthy. They're bringing guys back. They added McKinley Jackson. So say what you will about New Mexico and about what happened last week, but A&M's their last opponent, New Mexico, the Aggies got healthy up front. McKinley Jackson clogged up and drew so many double teams. He's going to be a problem. Despite not doing much on the stat sheet, he without a doubt can make his presence felt by clogging up running lanes and drawing double teams from interior offensive linemen. Like, they're getting healthier. Their linebackers are keying in, and they're not thinking, they're reacting. You remember Odom had mentioned that, and Sam Pittman had mentioned that in the offseason about, well, they were talking about Levi Draper before he got hurt. I think that was maybe that was last year when they had talked about, instead of thinking, you need to be reacting. I kind of saw that with A&M, kind of watching their linebackers, and it seems like now they're reacting and they're not thinking. They're keying in on the ball carrier. They're not over pursuing runners. They're doing a good job of trying to get pressure when they're asked to do so, when they're asked to create havoc in the backfield. They're getting better. I'm not saying Arkansas is not going to run these guys over. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be what some fans think, where we go out there and rush for 300 yards. And I have read that. I have literally read people say this is going to be worse than Texas. I don't see that happening. Again, they're getting healthier. McKinley Jackson is a monster. He's a clogger, man, up there at nose tackle. And it's even more important that you have Ricky Stromberg for this matchup. So, again, I think Arkansas should be able eventually, if not early in the game, later in the game, should get the run game going here, but it's going to be tough. I don't think it's going to be as easy as some people think. And then again, I could be completely wrong, and A&M's about to get their faces smashed in, which could also happen because Arkansas has looked really impressive. But I'm telling you, I feel like what I've seen and what I saw against New Mexico, again, say what you will, and I'll agree with you, but compare that to the other offenses they played. I don't know that it's a real big difference, but they did get better, and I think it started with linebackers, getting better play from the linebackers and having guys like McKinley Jackson. They're getting healthier. And they are loaded down, too, with just four-star talent. So they no doubt, and again, their first 5 or 6 quarters this year, they have struggled against the run, but since then they're playing a lot better. Mark Passwaters, that's the guy's name, who writes for AggieYell.com. He claimed that this defensive front is the best they've had in over 2 decades. Maybe that's a little bit of Homer speak. Maybe that's just someone, and I don't know him that well. In fact, this is the first I had heard that name. I'd seen that name posted around, but I guess he's covered the Aggies for a while. Again, he's claiming this is the best defensive line they've had in 2 decades. Now, I obviously don't know that, but I will tell you the individual skill level they have there is pretty high. A lot of 4-star talent, and of course, a lot of teams do. A lot of teams, stars aren't everything. It's about those guys being coached, right? It's about the other side of things too. Are they coachable, and what about the guys coaching them, developing the talent? They're also deep on the defensive line as well. And due to injuries, have given the guys that are backups more opportunities, so they're going to have a little bit of experience. Scrolling down here, this is what New Mexico did on the run. They ran the ball 36 times for only 89 yards, which is 2.5 yards per carry. So, yeah. All right, keys to win, and this is going to be the final part of this stream. What are we at? We're coming up on an hour. 30-10, going to pull away on a late surge. This is Terrence. You can guarantee the A&M is going to live and die to stop the run. They're going to sell out to stop the run. They're going to force KJ. Absolutely. I agree. Ty, wondered this last year with Felipe and KJ this year, would more bootlegs fit into this quarterback a little better? Maybe. I'd like maybe try that on 3rd down. I don't know. Why don't we do something a little different? All right, keys to this game. To me, and I thought about leaving this last little bit for the very last, but I'll start it off because I think it's it's interesting. They always say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I don't believe that. I don't believe that in football. I think it is how you start and it's how you finish, especially this year so far. Arkansas in the first and fourth quarters combined in their 3 games have outscored opponents. I didn't read this anywhere. I was up till 1 o'clock doing my work. They've outscored opponents 59-14, and nobody has scored on them in the opening quarter. If that changes this week, the defense doesn't need to panic and overreact. Just do your thing, baby. Just do your thing. Do what you've done. And the offense doing their thing too. They're outscoring opponents, again, in the first and fourth quarters combined in those first 3 games, 59-14. Now, I might ask you guys to also fact check that because I was kind of delirious. I was seeing double when I was looking over the box scores. But I think it's how you start and how you finish in this one. You know, they've shown that, well, we can have kind of a rough middle and still come out on top as long as we play typical Arkansas fourth quarter football. So I think it's how you start and how you finish here. So going on with that, get someone out of the backfield on fire. Seems like Dominic Johnson has been the big play guy from the running backs. Maybe feed him the rock early and often. If the north-south run game if it doesn't get going, running outside the tackles could prove to be difficult with A&M's with the speed they have at linebacker. But why fix what hasn't broken? You're going to probably see them try to emphasize the north-south run game. And I don't think that's a bad idea, but eventually it could slow down. It could be, or it could just be stopped altogether. But again, why fix what hasn't broken as far as game planning? But A&M is capable of containing this physical rush attack. But you got to make them prove it. Their media is saying, and I'm sitting here telling you, that their run defense isn't as bad as what the stat sheet represents. So, but you got to make them prove that again in this game. You got to make A&M prove that they can stop. That everything that everyone else is saying is true. Prove it. Burks needs to be involved. I say that every week. He had a big play last week. Let's see some more of that. However Browse wants to do it. Make Arkansas Burks again. See what I did there? Although they're doing fine. Their offense is actually doing fine, and Burks hasn't had a huge role in the offense. Yeah, again, he had that big play last week. But, let's make Arkansas Burks again. I thought that was clever. Imagine this offense if we see 2020, the production that Burks got in 2020 arrive on a consistent basis. KJ will have to, and I'm going to say this every week, KJ needs to be careful with the ball, limit mistakes as an offense on both sides, limit mistakes. D-line has another shot here. It's showing how much they've improved. A&M has only returned 1 starter up front, but these boys are regarded as the most talented offensive line they've had in years in terms of star power, but they haven't played well as a complete unit. We talked about that earlier. Pass blocking has their fans a little nervous, although not very rattled against Arkansas's pass rush. Make them think twice about that. Special teams Punter and kicker getting love, getting national love. Love to see it. But there's much more to special teams than just kickers and punters. Please, no goofy gaffes this week on special teams. Don't let Spiller and those backs take this game over. Spiller could be one of the better backs in this conference. You have to be able to contain and limit the run game and force Calzada to beat you with his arm. Do not give Calzada a clean pocket. This kid's arm talent is really high, although his decision-making ability tumbles when forced out of the pocket. So my score, my prediction, this is what I got, okay? I feel like A&M's run defense is going to have, I think this is a week. They've circled this on their map, on their schedule. It is a big game for them. They seem to always show up for it. It doesn't seem, like I've said on Mark Rogers' show, like I think I said on Wednesday's show, you could throw everything out the window when these two teams play on the field. I could sit here and tell you it's going to be a low-scoring game. Tomorrow it may be 55-45. Probably not going to happen. More than likely not going to happen. But you're going to have to. You're going to have to play 4 quarters of solid football. But especially, like I said, the first and fourth quarter. It's also it's not just how you start, but it's also how you finish. I think that's a better way of putting it. I am a little nervous for KJ in this one because I think they are going to sell out and force the same thing Arkansas is probably going to do with Calzada. Is probably a similar game plan with A&M on defense with dealing with KJ. I don't know, guys. And I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm taking Arkansas 27-20, baby. I think they get that run game going. Dominic Johnson, who's been a baller. He's getting, 14, 15 carries on the year, and my man is taking advantage of every moment he has that ball in his hands. Dominic Johnson's the man. Rocket Sanders getting those tough yards. Yeah, I want to see better play calling on 1st and 3rd down. Make it 3rd and short, not 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. You do that. Minimize mistakes. Arkansas is the better team on paper. In fact, I would almost argue it's the other way around. Arkansas should be higher rated than A&M based on what we've seen on the field so far. Do they have more star power? Yes. Are they up and down that roster? Sure. But as we've shown against you-know-who, against those Longhorns, that doesn't really matter. Now, different scenarios. Sarkisian, year 1 guy. Fisher's been there a little minute. He's had time to implement everything. Fine. I still think on paper and on the eye test, Arkansas looks like the better team. You could almost argue it would be an upset for A&M to beat Arkansas. Said what I said, not taking it back. Arkansas on paper, and they passed the eye test. Like I said, throw everything out the window. We have no idea what's going to happen when these two teams meet down in Arlington tomorrow, but I like the Hogs 27-20. That's where I'm at. I don't know if either team's going to break 30 points, but I feel good about what the Hogs do. Their defense, they're swarming folks, man, and they've shown when they're healthy. And they had that off season like they had. I think they had a productive spring camp. I think they did what they needed to over the summer. They didn't have any COVID interruptions. They were able to develop the back end of their depth chart. It's not the same old Razorbacks. They've got the depth. It's a little bit more polished in terms of when you go down to the 2s and 3s. You feel better. You're healthy-ish. We'll see what they do up front on the offensive line. I do think if they don't have Clary or Ty Clare, sorry. Ricky Stromberg and Dalton Wagner, that's going to present some issues, and that would probably, if we knew for a fact those two guys would out, that probably would impact my score a little bit. But like I said, they've got the quality talent up front on the offensive line. So I feel like this is an advantage for Arkansas all across the boards. Yeah, I only wish this game was in Fayetteville. It's a home game this year for Arkansas. It should be in Fayetteville. But I think regardless, that 9-game losing streak comes, to A&M, this 9-game losing streak comes to an end. It's done with this year. It's got to be over with. Hog fans are tired of it. There have been years in the past where Arkansas, you felt like was the better team going into it, and they still lost. They still found ways to lose. Yeah, give me the Hogs, 27-20. All right. Hogs, we win 28-24 for 275. Let's see. Guarantee you Hogs aren't sleeping on anyone. Absolutely. Elizabeth says the Longhorns don't have a defense. They suck. BMD. He doesn't like it when I talk about stats on the paper sheet. Sorry, man. It is what it is. They do matter. Arkansas should hire Mark Curls just to get his stupid ass off the damn field. Would be money well spent. 27-23 says Flying Blind. You guys go ahead and give me your scores. Yeah, baby. Hogs going 42-17. I think that might be I don't know if that happens. Holy crap. You've got a whole new outlook on life. Not having two starters in the O-line would be huge for them because you don't know how good the D-line is. That hog and a hog. Gonna have Texas A&M. I don't know what that means. AB running for his life. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, hopefully. Nick Hancock says 24-10. Ha, you're too easy. No, I just love calling you out on your shit, BMD. You're actually pretty easy. Hogs win. Bet the under. KJ will answer the questions about his arm. This is the game to do it. This is the game to set it up. Their pass defense is legit. I'm going to tell you guys, it is. And they could force him to make some mistakes. They're a solid coach team. They really are. But I have not been impressed with what I've seen from them on offense. I just haven't. And this backup does have he's got a great arm. He's got the arm talent. Is Burks going to play? I heard he's been in a boot all week. No, he's fine. He's going to play. Yeah, I think it was rumored he was in a green shirt, but as far as I know, he participated unless I read that wrong. Love the energy you provide every Friday, especially at the end of the show when you give us your score prediction. The channel is fine. Ty Woo Pig Suey from Georgia. Appreciate that. I am Prue. Thank you. 17-14 says Paul. Elizabeth just says nope. I guess she's the A&M fan. Mr. T-Dub, the next time, let's see, this time next week we'll be talking about stunning Malik Hornsby performance. This time next week we'll be talking about a stunning Malik Hornsby performance. You're gonna have to get back with me on that one. I don't know what you mean there, T-Dub. I don't know. You think he's gonna start over KJ, or he's gonna maybe come in for KJ? Y'all need Matt Jones out there if you want to win. Yeah, Matt Jones would be nice. 6'6", 242 pounds, ran a 4.38 40. Yeah, I would love that. Best show you've done yet, Ty. I appreciate that, Flying Blind. Minimize the penalties, and Arkansas has a really good chance. Facts. All right. Sure, we triggered some A&M people, and I'm fine with that. Elizabeth in chat is smoking crack. I think we have a couple. I think we got 2 or 3 A&M people. Hey, welcome. But, yeah. You probably will get crapped on in chat, but I always urge chat to be cool. Let them have their opinions. That's fine. They're more than welcome. We've got A&M fans on our Discord. By the way, let me get that Discord link out for you for anybody who wants to join. Let me get that going. I don't like that I have to edit this every week. All right. Generate new link, copy, paste. There you go. For anybody that wants to join up, I don't care who you are. There you go. Arkansas whole defense will get targeted. Says Aggie. Thought it was Angie. That's my bad. Bro, Matt Jones and KJ have the same stats the first 3 to 4 games when Matt was. Well, okay, maybe so, but I don't think KJ's dropping a 4.37 though. I'm A&M, but I've always liked Arkansas since the Nut days. They were man. Houston Nut. Everyone wanted him gone, and they didn't realize what they had when they had it. So I liked what he could do. I liked what he was able to do. I really do. I mean, I think he did a great job of finding not so highly recruited guys and turning them into top 3. Look what he did with the offensive line, man. I mean, how many first-round draft picks did he have, and how many first-round draft picks has Arkansas had since, especially on the offensive line? No, he'll have some packages, and we'll do great. We'll see. Jeb Huckabee, still one of my favorite players. He was great. He was really good. Houston Nut was Arkansas. There's only one Razorback, baby. Remember how we used to say that? I'll say this, A&M fans, the ones that usually come through here are usually pretty cool. And we have, like I said, I think we have a couple in our Discord, and they're good people. Like I haven't had any issues. I haven't had to kick out any A&M fan. Now, Mizzou fans, we've had a couple of those come through. Kelly, if she's in chat, she knows what I'm talking about. I think it was spelled Huckaba. It was like Huckeba or yeah. If only we played A&M in the second half of the season after their inevitable collapse. You could say the same thing about Arkansas, though, because last year in the second half of the season, they were not very good. They really fell apart. I think a lot of that was COVID and injuries and so on and so forth. All right. Ty, does this game show us how run-blocking bodies will hold up in the long term of the season? I mean, in terms of talent, you're not going to see very many defensive lines which you're about to face with A&M. Like in terms of star power and you know, again, what some of these guys have said, some of their media will have you to believe that they're chock full of All-Americans, and maybe they are. I don't know, but that's tough to say. I mean, it's the SEC. You know, you could say one thing, and what matters is trying to deal with just the gauntlet going through week to week. You know, you got Georgia after this. My God. I mean, this 4-game stretch is ridiculous. It only gets – it's like – and you still have Bama to deal with later on, right? And – who knows what Mississippi State really is? Who knows what Mizzou really is right now? Right now it's easy to say, oh, well, whatever, this, that, or the other. But the gauntlet of the SEC is I don't know. And that, to me, is what matters the most, and it's nice. You got a bye week eventually coming up. Need it more than ever. 150 passing yards for Arkansas plus. Feels good to be excited and happy about football again, says Nick Hancock. I agree. Rocktown 501 says, "Ain't it, man?" I don't know what they're talking about. You must be responding to the Aggie fan, I would imagine. James Ryan, Calzada has not impressed me at all. Played better last game, but I think Archie gets him flustered in the pocket. If they can get pressure on Calzada on a somewhat consistent basis, I think they're in for a long day. You still got to deal with Spiller in their run game. I'm telling you, I like Spiller a lot, man. I like Spiller. I think he's a solid back. He is capable of taking games over. O-line will be MVP. Book it. Underrated, says Hoyt. I love it. I love it. That's why we love the SEC, baby. Iron sharpens iron. Well, I mean, that's true, but all you're playing is iron. You know, it's I agree. I think it's why the SEC's set up the way that it is. KJ is wild when he lets it fly. He's got a really good deep ball. I like his deep ball. I think he can throw. He's got a pretty good. He's got the arm, and I think he's got good ball placement down the field. Spiller is solid. Catalan MVP says Lee Dunavant. 300+ yards rushing for Arkansas. Bloodline, come on. You're killing me. You're killing me with that. 300 yards on the ground against A&M? I don't see that happening. And no, I'm not going to shave my beard if it does. But I would almost bet that. Rocktown says it's going to be a hell of a game regardless as usual. Right. Texas A&M allowing 4.1 yards per carry to burn teams. Arkansas is averaging 6.3. Hog's going to eat, says Mike and Mary Hoggard. All right. Texas A&M has a GOAT tight end. Wish we had him. Yeah, he is arguably the best tight end in the conference. He's not really putting up great numbers. Talking about Watermeyer. He's legit. He really is. Yeah, he'd be nice to have someone like that at tight end. Maybe 210 on the ground, says Matt Travis. 450 yards. Oh, Lord. I mean, it's not impossible. And that's the other thing, too, about A&M. Like, we don't know what they are because we just don't know enough about who they've played. We know Colorado, not great, especially on offense. New Mexico, I would definitely take Texas over anybody they've played, and I would probably take Rice over anybody that they've played outside of Colorado. Better chance of 300 run yards or 200 passing yards. I would say I would say pass. I would say you're more likely, but their secondary is legit. If you're asking me between those two scenarios, I don't know that either of those things happen, but you don't have to have either of those things to happen to beat A&M because their offense has been mostly kind of, I mean, it's not where Jimbo Fisher wants it. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt that he's not satisfied what he's getting out of his offense, but he has had the opportunity, and this is something you cannot overlook. They've had a couple of weeks to work with the ones with Calzada, and he's had a little bit of time to adjust and kind of fine-tune his game. No doubt they're not letting this game slip by. This is, I think they understand, especially that Texas game. It got their attention. Ty, stop with the Texas A&M pleasantries. You want to say it. Arkansas is going to spank that ass. I have to point out the things that are real, Randy, but I already gave my prediction. I got Arkansas winning this thing. Ryan says more likely to get 300 over 200, 300 rushing over 200 passing. I don't know. Against A&M, I don't know. I know it looks good on the stats sheet. When you look at this is where you could honestly argue that they're getting healthier. They're playing better in their front seven. So the stat sheet here is where it's probably not what you think it is, right? But Odom has a couple of weeks on tape, and that's true. You're right on Calzada. You're right. I don't disagree with that. Sorry, I'm late. Lunch got delayed because of meetings. Hey, don't ever apologize for being late. I'm happy you're here. KJ going to have 80 alone. Look, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying that I don't think it's going to be as easy. We'll see. I'm excited, y'all. Post-game show is going to be crazy one way or another. I definitely don't want to lose 10 years straight to these guys. It's been a minute. It's been too long. Long overdue. So, man, who's disliking this? I could think of a couple people that would probably dislike this show. All right, Asian Dude, I'll read this last comment real quick. Asian Dude says, lots of good matchups in this game. I think Arkansas will have to go up 2 possessions to win this one. If A&M keeps it into 1 possession going into the 4th, I like their chances to squeak out with a dub. I mean, what? But you make that sound like A&M has some kind of great offense. They haven't been very good on offense, Asian Dude. They haven't been very good. They've not been consistent on offense. I don't know that you have to go up 2 scores to beat Texas A&M, and I don't think that's going to happen one way or another. I think whoever wins, it's going to be close. That's going to be the likely scenario. Stop with the A&M pleasantries. You want to say it. I think we have a couple breakaway runs for 20-plus yards. Their offense is abysmal. It has been so far. We'll see if they've made the adjustments. Jimbo Fisher is known as a really good, really sound offensive mind and a guy that works really well with quarterbacks. They think that he squeezed everything he could out of Kellen Mond. Kind of makes you wonder if they kind of took him for granted, because their quarterback play, even before Calzada, their quarterback play, no matter who's been back there, has not been solid. Who's better, Colorado or Arkansas? Well, I mean, but I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but it's not that simple. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is, Johnny. I don't know. All right. Woo Pig, see you guys tomorrow. After the game, the post-game show will follow in, about 5 or so minutes after the game. Looking forward to it. Again, I'm picking the Hogs 27-20 on this one. I think regardless, it's going to be tough. I don't know. Again, throw it all out the window because God only knows what's going to happen tomorrow. All right. I will see you guys. Stay out of trouble. Or try to. I know you won't, but try.